All right, Jules, on the Casemiro red, Paolo Di Canio, I thought, had an interesting theory, which you may or may not agree with, and obviously somebody who played in England for a long time. And he just talked about Casemiro adjusting to the Premier League and adjusting for the fact that, put bluntly, he no longer plays for Real Madrid. And I think you can lump in the other red card he got, the when he grabbed the guy's throat against Fulham. Where if you're a little bit cynical, if you play for Real Madrid and there's a confrontation, sometimes referees are a little more lenient. And I think that one, and I said it at the time, you can fault him for going over there and being so macho and aggressive. The throat grab, when you look at it again,
it's not that obvious.
But he suggested that the Premier League has this image of being tough but fair and aggressive and so on, and referees not calling every little foul the way they do in other leagues, specifically in Spain. And then he feels the need that he needs to kind of get into that mindset. And so as a result, he went and he played the enforcer, back when he was sent off in that game. And in this one, crunching tackle in midfield, crowd goes wild. But he's out of control when he does it, and he pays a price for it. He hasn't, use a term, he hasn't calibrated his style of play to playing in the Premier League. Does that
that's a fair point, I
make
think.
sense to you?
Yeah, very much so. And I also think that Ten Hag wants a high intensity, some sort of physicality in the game as well, which
to be fair, the last two Real Madrid coaches, you wouldn't describe them as Ancelotti and Zidane as like high intensity guys.
Exactly. And Real Madrid would have 65% of the ball very regularly in games where there was not much intensity. You're right. So I think his role was very, very different than in a Ten Hag team like that, in a rebuilding process, in a league like the Premier League, where the rhythm and the intensity and the tempo is far higher than anything in La Liga. And I think on top of it, to go even more with Di Canio, when he's the only defensive midfielder in a team like that, which means that he has to spread himself. If you play with the two, it's kind of easier. One is on the right, kind of central to right, and then the other one central to left. And then if one goes forward, the other compensates them. This is easy. But when you're on your own, I think he probably had the mindset of like, okay, I'm on my own here. I've got all of this area here to patrol, kind of thing. So I need to go right, I need to go left, I need to go central. I won't get much help really from Anthony, Bruno, Sancho, Rashford, or Weghorst. And then behind me is the back four. So I think even in his head, maybe before the game, was like, okay, this is a bit different. And maybe he was just spreading himself too much and thought, I need to go for the tackle here, because if Alcaraz dribbles past me, then it's dangerous. I don't know. But I think it's really interesting. And also, just to finish, we've said it many times, it was unbelievable that in over 500 games as a pro before joining United this summer, he never had a red card. And we said many times that...
He never had a straight red.
Yeah, straight red.
I think he's had red cards.
Yeah, sorry, straight red. Because we've said many times before at Real Madrid, there was a few things that maybe outside of playing for Real Madrid would have, I think, warranted a red card, straight red.
That's why Sergio Ramos didn't get very many red cards.
Exactly, as well.
Sergio Ramos fulfilled.
But you remember for Casemiro at Real Madrid, it was very much like, we know this is how he does. He always managed to avoid the red card.
Well, what struck me about that too, about the heat and intensity of the game, and I struggle with this because it is a bit of a stereotype associated with the Premier League.
Yeah.
Other leagues are also intense. But if you're not used to it, it can lead to making, to effectively taking bad decisions. Because, all right, let's assume Casemiro's foot had not been high. And by the way, if Casemiro missed the ball entirely, he could have ended Alcaraz's career, or certainly laid him out for a very long time. It's very clear on this. That's why he's off, right? But if his foot had stayed on the ground, it's not like he would have gotten to the ball first, but it's not. The ball would have just bounced around. There's no guarantee United would have won the ball. Whereas if he had done since he was at the ball first, if he had slid around to protect it, and he could have held off Alcaraz. I mean, that would have been the more conservative thing if you wanted to win the ball and keep possession, right?
Or even if you want to stop his attack, you just put your arm around, he goes past you, put your arm, you foul him, it's a yellow, you take the yellow, and then you... By the way, Casemiro has 5 yellows this season.
Right.
Ivan Toney, for example, has 8 or 9, I think. So 2 reds and 5 yellows. Just to make the point that he hasn't been dirty all season at all. This is not
Right.
the Fulham red card, as you said, is an argy-bargy, and this one is a reckless one. But it's not like if he'd been reckless all the time. And Palhinha, for example, at Fulham, had been very physical. Had far more yellow cards than Casemiro. So.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.